the advisory component and the bookkeeping component. But yeah, usually those are totally separate. Like our firm, Time Capital Bookkeeping, all we do is bookkeeping. Like that is our specialty. That's our focus. We don't mix anything else in, that kind of muddies the waters. And so I typically recommend people get individual people who specialize in their one thing and they're a true expert in that one thing. And so you'll have kind of multiple different people on your team as far as the financial side of your business in a fractional capacity. I think as long as all those people communicate with each other, like that's the recipe for success.
Welcome to the Real Estate Pros Show, where we interview real estate investing professionals from coast to coast, as well as the service providers that serve the real estate investing industry. Our goal is simple: share what's working now to help you improve and scale your business to the next level and meet the pros that can help you get there. Real Estate Pros is powered by Investor Fuel, America's leader in helping real estate investors and professionals build the business you need to live the life you've always dreamed of. Let's start today's show. Property insurance for real estate investors doesn't have to be difficult, but it does need to be there to protect you when you need it. MyInvestorInsurance.com not only provides insurance at 15 to 30% cheaper than traditional agencies, it's built specifically for real estate investors like you. You can set up an account in about 2 minutes, get quotes on properties, turn on and turn off insurance for your fix and flip or rental properties in around 2 minutes without having to talk to anyone directly, all through our portal. There's no better way or faster way to make sure you've got the coverage you need to protect you, and no more lengthy policies either. Once you're set up, you're billed monthly and prorated by the day for however long your policy is active. It's powered by MSI, the third largest independent MGA, with 1.5 million customers and more than $1 billion in cumulative premiums written. Get set up today in about 2 minutes at myinvestorinsurance.com/fuel.
Hey folks, welcome back to the show. Today's guest is a U.S. Marine Corps veteran, real estate investor, and founder of Time Capital Bookkeeping, a firm dedicated to delivering decision-ready financials to house flippers, wholesalers, and investors so they can move fast, stay focused, and grow profits with confidence. His journey from military to building a seven-figure business is rooted in leadership, service, and simplifying the complex financial side of real estate. His mission is simple: better decisions, build wealth, and help others win. Please welcome Max Emory. Max, welcome to the show.
Thanks so much, Dylan. I'm excited. Thanks for having me.
It's great to have you on here. We were chatting a little bit before hopping on the show here. I know that you're in the Carolinas. I was mentioning how much of a fan I am of the Carolinas, but before we get into that, let's back up a bit. I always ask guests at the top of the show, how did you get into real estate?
Yeah. So I read Rich Dad Poor Dad back in like early 2019, which I'm sure is a lot of the answers that you get, right? It probably starts with that book for most of us, but yeah, that book absolutely blew my mind. I was actually in the Marine Corps. I was deployed out to the Pacific, and we were on a naval vessel. And I took two books with me, and that was one of the books. And so it kind of, opened my eyes to that side of the world. I had never heard the term like real estate investing or real estate investor, anything like that. I didn't know anyone who did anything like that. And so it was a total game changer. But yeah, that's basically how it started. And about 4 months later, I closed on my first duplex. Once I got back to the States, I had been back here for a couple of months and closed on that first duplex from a distance.
Wow. So that'll be proof of concept right there. So you're seeing real estate turn from theory into practice. Once you got that first duplex, was it like, okay, I've got a taste of how this is. This is the career that I want to be in. I want to be involved in working with real estate investors. I want to be an investor myself. Was it a progression? Walk me through the mentality.
Yeah, it definitely, I definitely got the bug after that for real estate investing. Yeah, so it was probably, let's see, that was August of 2019. So I think it was December of 2019, I closed on the second duplex. And so I just wanted to, kind of scale immediately. I was still in the Marine Corps. I still had probably a couple years left, at that point. And so my time was very limited. I could maybe squeeze out an hour a day kind of towards those efforts, maybe a little bit more on the weekends, but that was pretty much it, and it kind of varied week to week. And so
Stop living on an island and join the #1 mastermind in America for professional real estate investors. Investor Fuel is a community of hundreds of the nation's top investors working together to build stronger businesses and better lives. In addition to the amazing community of real estate investors acting as a board of advisors for one another, Investor Fuel members have access to 100% funding on purchase and repairs for our members only, a health insurance program, and benefits and discounts that more than pays for the membership of most of our members, meaning it's actually costing you money to not be a member of Investor Fuel. If you're looking to scale your business and build a business that allows you to live the life of your dreams, please visit investorfuel.com today and book a call with our team.
But the kind of the passive income aspect of it really appealed to me because I was so time crunched, I guess. And then also, the cash flow aspect, and then the building wealth, long-term wealth aspect of it as well. But yeah, I jumped into it pretty quickly, and I actually snagged David Green's book, Long Distance Real Estate Investing. Super good tactical book that kind of laid everything out that I needed to do right. So I was stationed in California. I was purchasing properties actually in South Carolina, in Columbia, South Carolina, which is where I went to college. And so, got my core four, the realtor, the property manager and contractor and all that stuff, got all those people into place. And it took a few rounds of kind of hiring and firing, to find the right team and get the right fit. But yeah, once I had them in place, I just basically continued to purchase duplexes and long-term rentals. I was doing the BRRRR strategy, snagging properties off of the MLS. I didn't really do direct to seller. I just kind of just combed the MLS, and I did a little bit of off market, but through the kind of like REI savvy agent that I was working with. So it wasn't,
Right.
I wasn't conducting direct to seller or anything like that, because I definitely did not have time for that. So yeah, I'll cut it there and and let you jump back in if you have questions about any of that.
I want to ask you about working with the savvy investor agent. I think I'm an investor agent. I should say I'm a wholesaler agent, if you will, because my
Awesome.
experience has been in assignable contracts. And it's interesting, and I'm sure you have this experience, Max. Most agents, you would think, especially as an outsider looking in, you'd be like, well, they have to be knowledgeable in real estate investment. They're a real estate agent. But that's not the case. So I'm curious, when you were searching for, okay, well, how do I find the agent that I want to work with? Did you immediately happen to connect with the investor agent that you were working with, or did you have to kind of seek out, hey, where do I find someone who's going to help me with this type of niche?
Yeah. So, after I read the Rich Dad Poor Dad book, like I started Googling things naturally, right? That's like the next natural step. But I quickly stumbled upon BiggerPockets, which, I'm assuming everybody who listens to this show knows BiggerPockets. And so started kind of nerding out in the forums and the podcast and all that stuff. And so I actually found this agent in the forums. I can't remember which forum, but yeah, he was in there. He was answering questions. He seemed very knowledgeable as far as the investing side of it. And so I DM'd him on BiggerPockets, and then, we had some phone calls and got together. And yeah, I mean, we ended up working together, and we purchased a lot of properties, or I purchased a lot of properties through him over the course of like 2 years. So I kind of got lucky, just I stumbled on him in the BiggerPockets forums, basically.
That's how it happens. I do want to
Yeah.
pivot here, Max, and ask you about the bookkeeping space. And before we dive into your business, I do want to ask you generally about bookkeeping in real estate. I think for folks like myself who may not be familiar with all of what that entails, can you give uh, me and our audience, a general description of what is the bookkeeping space like in real estate, and is it different from firm to firm?
Yeah, it's so yeah, bookkeeping for real estate investors, it's much more complex, I think, than probably most people and most investors think it is. If it's done correctly, right? I think the typical investor, and I was in this boat as well in the beginning, we really just think of kind of cash in, cash out, and that's like the extent of what we think of bookkeeping, right? But if your bookkeeping's done right, it's a lot more than that. It's very balance sheet heavy. There's a
If you're looking for consistent, high quality leads, look no further than Investor Machine. Investor Machine isn't just another agency, it's the most sophisticated, data driven lead generation company on the planet for real estate investors, and serves the role of being not just a lead generator for your business, but a marketing partner that is helping you achieve your goals along the way. Go to investormachine.com to learn more and schedule a call with our team today.
profit and loss component. There's, of course, the cash flow component, right? Statement of cash flows. So, that's kind of the overall financial picture. And then the thing that makes it, the real estate investing to do with bookkeeping, so unique though is just all of the entities, right? Like the entity structures, all the different properties, because we have to account for things at the entity level for each individual entity, and let's say we have 10 entities or something.
Right.
And then each of those entities has a certain level of volume as far as properties go. And so we have to account for each and every, single one of those properties. And so it's pretty intense on the bookkeeping side if it's done correctly, and we're keeping up with everything at each level that we should be keeping up with, which is really what you need if you want to be able to make decisions from your financials, right? Once we compile the financials, and so and then you kind of throw in creative finance, you throw
Yeah.
in like the language of real estate investing, right? It's so different than other industries. It gets pretty complex pretty quickly, which is if you're a real estate investor like you and you want your bookkeeping and also the tax side and everything done correctly, you really need to get with someone who specializes in your industry.
I want to ask you a granular question about where this intersects exactly with tax strategy. Bookkeeping seems to be what you would need in order, of course, to have the successful tax strategy in general. Are most people that do bookkeeping also involved directly with tax strategy themselves? Or is that a different niche entirely? And it may be in many ways tangent too, but in most cases, bookkeepers are not tax strategists.
Yeah, I would say that statement's accurate. Most bookkeepers are not tax filers, and they're also not tax advisors or tax strategists. So those are all kind of different people. Throw in the REI savvy fractional CFO too. Like that's a different
Yeah.
person for cash flow management advisory and those sorts of things. And so, I have met some tax firms that also offer the advisory component and the bookkeeping component, but yeah, usually those are totally separate. Like our firm, Time Capital Bookkeeping, all we do is bookkeeping. Like that is our specialty. That's our focus. We don't mix anything else in, that kind of muddies the waters. And so I typically recommend people get individual people who specialize in their one thing and they're a true expert in that one thing. And so you'll have kind of multiple different people on your team as far as the financial side of your business in a fractional capacity. I think as long as all those people communicate with each other, like that's the recipe for success.
I'm wondering, pivoting a bit here, Max, if you had an aha moment when you were investing, because I had this recently where I was like, oh man, so I'm a real estate investor now, and I need to be way more aware of all the different ways where I can understand the tax code, and then also throughout the year, I'm aware of how I'm allocating my assets so that I'm not, in a panic at the end of the year to try to get everything in a row. And I had this thought recently. I was like, man, accountants, people who keep track of the books, it may not be the most alluring, thing that you might see on TV or anything like this, but this is super important, and I get why people are paid a premium. I need to be more knowledgeable about this. Did you have a moment like that that got you interested in the space at all?
Yeah. As far as the bookkeeping space, yeah, It really did because I started investing in real estate, prior to starting Time Capital Bookkeeping, and so I was doing it for a couple of years actually prior to starting to do bookkeeping for other investors. But yeah, it was really just going to networking events and networking with a lot of other investors that were kind of at a similar level to where I was, or maybe even a little ahead. And we would always just discuss.
If you're a new or newer real estate investor looking to launch or grow your real estate investing business, please check out Investor Fuel Club. It's a coaching community, but unlike anything you've ever seen before. And you can actually partner with members of our mastermind from coast to coast on deals right in your market. There's no better opportunity to build a consistent business than to literally partner with pros to help you avoid costly mistakes, avoid the need for capital to do deals, and help you eliminate your fears as you're starting your business. Learn more about Investor Fuel Club at investorfuel.com/club.
Kind of different issues that I identified that most of them kind of like rooted back to bookkeeping. It's like if we could just get a little bit better handle on our numbers as investors, like I think a lot of these issues would solve themselves, and we could, now we have the financials to look at to be able to refine our buy box for future acquisitions, be able to manage our portfolios a little better, lean into the things that make more money than the other things, that make less money. And, without those financials that are accurate and up to date, we don't really know what levers to pull as far as to grow or, hit whatever goals that we're going for. And so yeah, it was really just kind of talking with other investors and hearing, kind of hearing their needs. And that's what prompted the idea for Time Capital Bookkeeping.
I think it's truly remarkable because it's a niche that I think is in many ways not spoken to for what I mentioned earlier, which is this idea of like, hey, when people are getting into real estate, they're thinking about, I want to do flips. I might want to do wholesale. I want to be an agent. But the books are so important. And that scramble that I feel like I'm encountering myself now, and that so many investors deal with, especially younger investors, but not just investors, agents, right? Folks who are in some way involved in making money in the real estate space have this kind of, okay, I have to, it dawns on them, I got to get this in a row. And where do I turn to? And oftentimes it's people are thinking, okay, well, maybe I got to go do a Google search. Maybe I got to go do this. And you identified that, Max, and you said, okay, well, there's really ripe for innovation, ripe for opportunity. I can put, a different spin on this where instead of someone has to reach out to, some brick and mortar or some people that they don't really have rapport with, I'm an investor myself. I'll, keep the books and we're going to work really as a team. And my hat goes off to you for that because a lot of people would look at the space and they say, "Well, how can I innovate bookkeeping?" But you've clearly done something that is different.
Yeah, yeah, I appreciate that, man. Yeah, yeah, I noticed that there was a very real need for it, and I didn't really know how it was going to come to fruition, but yeah, I mean, I just kind of started. I got certified and got all the education, everything I needed to do things the right way, and have everything be tax ready and decision ready and all that, and just kind of merge everything together in a nice way. But yeah, I mean once I actually started, putting myself out there, like as providing these services for real estate investors, like that's when it kind of solidified, like, oh yeah, like this is a very real need in the space, especially at this level of the space, like the non-corporate level of the space,
Right.
so people who can't, maybe can't necessarily afford a full-time, 60K a year or whatever bookkeeper just to do their books for their business. Everyone who's kind of lower than that level, like there's a very real need for our services. And even people at that level who maybe don't want to pay somebody 60K a year just to do their books, right?
Right.
So yeah, there's a large market share there within the real estate investing community that really needs the service.
I want to mention something else as well. I'm on your website right now, timecapital.com, timecapitalbcs.com. Phenomenal website. I can tell that a lot of effort went into this. The UI is great even too. And one of the things is when you think about bookkeeping, again, people aren't thinking, okay, well, I'm going to do something necessarily new, innovative. How can I know this because I'm the host of this show. I've done, more than 200 interviews. You're the first person that's come on and brought something new to the bookkeeping space across the country. So there may be other people that are doing what you're doing, but as far as doing something different, also keeping it clearly, up to date with what is drawing eyeballs. You're on this show, you've got a beautiful website. Again, my hat goes off to you. We are coming up on time here. Where can folks go if they'd like to reach out to you? They may like some feedback on what they're doing, or they may be interested in some bookkeeping services, right?
Definitely, man. Yeah. Yeah. Check out our website, timecapitalbcs.com. My wife, Sedona Emory, actually made that website. She does websites. So, so I'll definitely let her know that you said that you love the website, but yeah, timecapitalbcs.com, go there. There's a button that says get quoted. You can hit that button. It's like a 2-minute or less intake form. And then you'll be able to book a call with myself. But yeah, there. And then you can also find me on Facebook. That's a great place to connect with me. Just Max Emory on Facebook. Friend me, connect, DM me there. Yeah, and those are the two best ways.
Max, thank you so much for coming on the show here today.
Thanks for joining us for today's Real Estate Pros Show. You can learn more about the amazing benefits of the Investor Fuel Mastermind community, including surrounding yourself with hundreds of other rock stars, 100% financing for your deals, and members-only discounts from vendors you're likely already using that, as a member of Investor Fuel, will save you more than the cost of your membership. Visit investorfuel.com to learn more. If you're interested in joining us as a guest of this show, please visit investorfuel.com/pros to apply. You can also check the show notes for access to free resources, how to get access to world-class lead generation, and much more. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next show.